It began with a question he never asked, in a place he never meant to be. The gallery was cold that night, its walls lined with abstract paintings. He'd only come because a colleague insisted, because saying no was too much trouble. He planned to stay for exactly 20 minutes, then disappear. He stood near the entrance, watching people pretend to understand art, while secretly checking their phones. And then, the scent arrived. It wasn't loud or demanding. It moved like a shadow, subtle and elusive, curling around him with a precision that felt almost intentional. He turned, searching for the source, but saw only the usual crowd. No one looked back. Yet the perfume persisted, threading through the air with a strange intimacy, as if speaking to something buried deep inside him. He'd always believed himself immune to sentimentality. His life was built on routines, on logic. But this scent bypassed every defense he had. It smelled like rain on warm pavement, like old books left open in sunlight, like a memory he couldn't quite place, but desperately wanted to remember. It pulled at something fragile and forgotten. He moved deeper into the gallery, following the invisible trail, past abstract canvases, through a narrow corridor, into a smaller room where the crowd had thinned. And there she was, standing alone before a painting, her attention completely absorbed. Her silhouette was unremarkably dark dress, simple lines, yet the perfume radiated from her like an aura, invisible but undeniable. He should have left. He knew it even then. This was a moment he had stumbled into by accident. But instead of leaving, he stayed, watching her watch the painting, feeling the weight of the perfume settle over him. Time felt different, slower and heavier. Eventually, she turned, not toward him, but toward the exit. Assez passed. The perfume intensified for a brief, dizzying moment, and in that moment, she glanced at him. It wasn't a meaningful look, no recognition, no curiosity, just a passing acknowledgement. But something in her eyes, something tired, resigned, and infinitely distant struck him with an unexpected force. It was the look of someone saying goodbye to something they would never see again. Then she was gone. He stood frozen, staring at the empty doorway. The perfume lingered, fading slowly. His feet carried him in the opposite direction, following the path she had taken, down a staircase he hadn't noticed before, into a lower level of the building. The space below was quieter, almost abandoned. He scanned the room, but she wasn't there. No dark dress, no elegant silhouette, no trace of the perfume that had pulled him down here. She had vanished. He approached the security guard. "Did you see someone come through here?" he asked. "A woman in a dark dress, just a moment ago." The guard looked at him, confused. "No one's come through here in the last 20 minutes, he said. "You're the first." He wanted to argue, but the guard's expression left no room for doubt. The woman had simply not been there. He returned to the main gallery in a daze. The crowd looked the same, the paintings unchanged, but everything felt different. The air felt thinner, the lights harsher. The certainty he had about his life felt suddenly fragile. He left without saying goodbye. Outside, the city stretched before him, vast and indifferent. He walked for a long time, no destination in mind. The perfume stayed with him, faint but persistent, a ghostly presence that refused to fade. Days passed, then weeks. He tried to return to his routines, but the scent had left a crack in the foundation of his life. Small questions began to surface. Was he living the life he wanted, or the life he had convinced himself he should want? Were his choices his own, or just the path of least resistance? He found himself searching for the perfume in department stores, boutiques, online. He described it to salespeople who offered samples that were close, but never right. The scent he was searching for didn't seem to exist. It was as if it had been created for that one night and then erased from the world. Months later, he found himself back at the gallery. He wandered through the rooms, searching for the small backspace where he had first seen her. But the layout had changed. The room he remembered was gone, replaced by a larger exhibition space. He asked an attendant if the gallery had been renovated. She told him no. Everything had been the same for years. He stood in the center of the space and felt the weight of something he could not explain. The perfume was gone. The woman was gone. The room itself was gone. Yet, the impact remained, carved into him like a scar. That single night had altered the shape of his life in ways he was still discovering. He began making different choices. Small at first, taking a new route to work, calling an old friend. Then larger ones. He left the job that had defined him for years. He moved to a different part of the city, closer to the river. He started writing again, something he had abandoned years ago. People asked him what had changed. How do you explain that a single scent, from a stranger you saw for less than a minute, unraveled the entire narrative of your life? How do you tell someone that an encounter so brief it could have been imagined left a mark deeper than any relationship? Years later, he still thought about that night, about the woman in the dark dress, the resignation in her eyes, the perfume that seemed to carry its own gravity. He wondered if she had felt it too, or if for her it was nothing. He would never know. And in a strange way, that uncertainty became part of the gift. The not knowing kept the memory alive, a mystery that refused to be solved. Sometimes, late at night, when the city was quiet, he would close his eyes and try to summon the scent again. Most times, it eluded him. But occasionally, it would return, faint and fleeting, on a breeze from nowhere. It reminded him that some things aren't meant to be captured or understood. They exist only to be felt, to shift us slightly off course, to show us that destiny is not a straight line but a web of invisible threads. And in those moments, he would think of her, the woman without a name, the perfume without a trace, the night that changed everything without ever being fully real. Thank you for listening.